Good evening, listeners. This is your emergency broadcaster with reports of disturbing incidents that have been occurring in the Millbrook Valley region over the past 10 days. What I'm about to share began as isolated wildlife attacks that seemed unusual but not necessarily threatening. However, the pattern of violence and the sheer brutality of these kills has escalated beyond anything our local authorities have encountered before. And I need you to understand the seriousness of what we're facing in these remote areas. Arthur Bennett has been a forest ranger in Millbrook Valley for 18 years. He knows every trail, every seasonal animal behavior, every sound that belongs in those woods. Last Tuesday morning, during his routine patrol of the northern section, Arthur discovered something that shook him to his core. 7 deer carcasses were scattered across a clearing, but these weren't typical predator kills. The violence was excessive, almost savage in nature, with wounds that went far beyond what any predator would need to make a kill. The first deer Arthur examined had its throat completely torn out, but the damage didn't stop there. Deep claw marks scored the entire length of the animal's body, cutting through hide and muscle with devastating force. The ribs were crushed, the spine was cracked, and chunks of flesh had been torn away with such violence that pieces were scattered 15 feet from the main carcass. Arthur had seen aggressive predator kills before, but nothing approached this level of raw, brutal destruction. Each carcass told the same horrifying story. These deer had been killed with extreme violence, then torn apart with a fury that defied explanation. The wounds suggested claws longer and stronger than any mountain lion Arthur had encountered, and bite marks indicated jaw strength that seemed impossible for regional wildlife. Blood was everywhere, soaked into the ground, and splattered across nearby trees. The scene looked like a slaughter rather than natural predation. The tracks surrounding the kill site were equally disturbing. Arthur could identify mountain lion paw prints, but they were massive, far larger than any he'd seen in 2 decades of Forest Service. The impressions were so deep, they suggested an animal weighing close to 300 pounds. Claw marks gouged into tree bark showed cuts 4 inches deep, carved with such force that wood chips were scattered across the forest floor. Arthur radioed his supervisor immediately, his voice shaking in ways his colleagues had never heard before. The scene wasn't just unusual, it was fundamentally wrong. Whatever had killed these deer possessed physical capabilities that exceeded anything in his experience, and the level of violence suggested a predator driven by something beyond normal hunting instincts. This wasn't a mountain lion feeding its cubs or defending territory. This was pure, uncontrolled aggression. Margaret Holloway received the call from the Forest Service Wednesday afternoon. As the state's leading wildlife biologist with 26 years of experience studying predator behavior, Margaret had investigated unusual animal attacks throughout the Pacific Northwest. She'd seen rabid animals, territorial disputes, and environmental stress pushing wildlife into aggressive patterns. Nothing in her extensive background had prepared her for what she found at Millbrook Valley. Margaret's examination confirmed Arthur's assessment that these weren't normal predator attacks. The bite patterns showed crushing force that approached that of large African cats, but the configuration remained distinctly mountain lion. The claw damage penetrated deeper into flesh and bone than should be possible, and the overall violence exceeded anything documented in predator behavior studies. The forensic evidence painted a picture of a predator that had lost all sense of restraint or efficiency. Normal mountain lions kill quickly and feed methodically. This creature had killed with explosive violence, then continued tearing at the carcasses long after death. Bite marks overlapped previous bites, Claw wounds cut through areas already destroyed, and the scattered remains suggested frenzied behavior that served no survival purpose. The predator was acting on pure violent impulse. Thursday morning brought reports that elevated Margaret's concern to genuine alarm. Bob Crawford, who owned a ranch 15 miles east of the deer kill site, discovered 4 of his cattle dead in their holding pen. The wooden fence posts were splintered and broken, with claw marks gouged so deep they nearly severed the thick timber. The gate hung twisted on its hinges, torn apart with such force that metal hinges were bent and broken. The cattle themselves had suffered the same excessive violence that characterized the deer attacks. Massive wounds tore through their thick hides, ribs were crushed and broken, and the largest steer had been nearly torn in half by the force of the attack. Blood covered the entire pen, and pieces of flesh and bone were scattered across a 50-foot radius. Bob Crawford had been raising cattle for 32 years and had never seen anything cause this level of destruction. Margaret's examination of the Crawford Ranch revealed the full extent of this predator's enhanced capabilities. The fence had been designed to contain cattle and exclude normal regional predators, but this creature had torn through barriers that should have been impregnable. The wooden posts showed bite marks where the predator had used its jaws to splinter and break the timber, demonstrating jaw strength that exceeded normal mountain lion capabilities by an enormous margin. The attack had occurred during the night, and despite the violence and the size of the prey, no neighboring properties had reported unusual sounds. 4 steers, each weighing over 800 pounds, had been killed in what must have been a sustained, violent assault. Yet the predator had accomplished this without generating enough noise to alert anyone in the area. The creature's enhanced size apparently came with proportional increases in speed and efficiency. Friday evening brought the incident that transformed local concern into community-wide terror. The Martinez family had been driving home from town when their car broke down on the forest road that bordered Millbrook Valley. While waiting for roadside assistance, they heard sounds coming from the woods that made their blood run cold. Deep, rumbling growls unlike anything they'd ever heard, followed by the sound of something large crashing through the underbrush. When their headlights caught movement in the tree line, the Martinez family saw something that defied their understanding of regional wildlife. A mountain lion emerged from the forest, but it was enormous, standing nearly 4 feet at the shoulder with a body length that seemed impossible. Its muscles bulged beneath its coat, and its eyes reflected the headlights with an intensity that suggested barely controlled rage. The creature stood at the edge of the road for several minutes, growling continuously before disappearing back into the darkness. The family remained locked in their car until help arrived 2 hours later, listening to sounds of destruction coming from the forest. Trees crashing, rocks being displaced, and that same deep growling that seemed to come from an animal much larger than any mountain lion should be. When they finally reached safety, the Martinez family was traumatized by their encounter with what they described as a mountain lion the size of a small bear, with an aggression level that seemed unnatural and terrifying. Saturday brought multiple reports from residents throughout the Millbrook Valley area that something was fundamentally wrong with the local wildlife situation. People who had lived in the region for decades were reporting sounds at night that didn't match any known animal vocalizations. Deep, resonant growls that seemed to come from an oversized throat, followed by the sounds of large trees being pushed over or broken apart. The psychological impact on the community was becoming severe. Residents were afraid to venture outside after dark, and several families had begun keeping loaded firearms near their doors for the first time in their lives. The normal sounds of the forest had been replaced by an atmosphere of menace, with people reporting an overwhelming sense of danger whenever they approached wooded areas. Something was out there, and it was bigger and more dangerous than anything that belonged in these mountains. Sunday morning brought the discovery that confirmed everyone's worst fears about the nature of the threat they were facing. Murphy's gas station, which served the isolated rural community at the intersection of two county roads, had been attacked during the night. The building itself was damaged, with deep claw marks gouged into the metal siding and wooden door frame torn apart as if something had tried to force its way inside. Dennis Walsh, the night clerk who witnessed the encounter, described watching through the window as the largest mountain lion he'd ever seen approach the building. The animal was massive, with shoulder muscles that bulged visibly even through its thick coat. Its movements were fluid but aggressive, and it circled the building several times while making deep growling sounds that Dennis could feel vibrating through the walls. The creature had attempted to gain entry by clawing at the door and windows, leaving gouges in the metal and wood that demonstrated incredible strength. The claw marks were 4 inches deep in some places, cut with such force that metal shavings curled away from the scratches. Dennis described feeling the entire building shake when the predator threw its weight against the reinforced door, testing the barrier's strength with physical force that seemed impossible for any regional wildlife. For reasons Dennis couldn't understand, the predator eventually lost interest and departed, but not before leaving evidence of its enhanced capabilities carved into the building itself. The security cameras captured glimpses of an animal that was unmistakably a mountain lion, but exceeded normal size parameters by an enormous margin. The footage showed a predator driven by aggressive instincts that seemed to have no natural limits or restraints. As I speak to you now, wildlife officials are coordinating with state authorities to address what appears to be a single predator with physical capabilities far beyond normal mountain lion parameters. The animal remains at large, and residents in the Millbrook Valley area are being advised to avoid rural areas entirely, particularly during nighttime hours. Normal wildlife management strategies may not be sufficient to deal with a predator of this size and aggression level. I'll continue monitoring this developing situation and will provide updates as more information becomes available. Until then, if you live in or plan to travel through the Millbrook Valley region, please exercise extreme caution and report any unusual wildlife encounters to local authorities immediately. Something is hunting in those woods, and it's far more dangerous than anything we've faced before. Good evening, listeners. This is your emergency broadcaster returning with developments in the Millbrook Valley situation that have fundamentally changed our understanding of what we're dealing with. The past week has brought face-to-face encounters with the predator responsible for the brutal killings I reported previously, and what witnesses have described defies everything we thought we knew about mountain lion behavior and capabilities. Monday evening brought the first direct human encounter when Victor Hawthorne, a hunter with 35 years of experience tracking mountain lions, came face to face with what he initially thought was the largest cat he'd ever seen. Victor had been following tracks from the latest kill site, hoping to locate the predator responsible for the recent attacks. What he encountered in a clearing 2 miles north of Murphy's gas station challenged every principle of mountain lion behavior he'd learned over decades of hunting experience. Victor described watching the creature emerge from dense underbrush approximately 50 yards away, moving with fluid grace, but possessing a physical presence that seemed impossible for any mountain lion. The animal stood nearly 4 feet at the shoulder, with a body length exceeding 8 feet and muscle mass that bulged visibly beneath its tawny coat. Its head was proportionally larger than normal mountain lions, with a skull that appeared designed to accommodate jaw muscles of extraordinary size and power. What struck Victor most wasn't just the creature's impossible size, but its complete lack of fear when it detected his presence. Normal mountain lions flee immediately upon encountering humans, but this animal stood its ground and focused directly on Victor with an intensity that made his skin crawl. The creature's eyes reflected an aggression that seemed barely contained, and its low growling created vibrations that Victor could feel in his chest from 50 yards away. The standoff lasted nearly 10 minutes, with the creature making no attempt to flee despite Victor's obvious human presence. Instead, the predator paced back and forth along the tree line, displaying physical capabilities that seemed to violate natural laws. When it moved, muscle definition was visible through its coat, showing development that approached bodybuilder proportions. Its claws, when extended, appeared to be nearly 5 inches long and thick enough to serve as effective weapons against much larger prey. Victor reported that the creature's vocalizations were unlike anything he'd heard from mountain lions during his extensive hunting career. Instead of typical screams or yowls associated with large cats, this predator produced deep, rumbling growls that suggested a throat and chest cavity much larger than normal mountain lion anatomy could accommodate. The sounds carried undertones that seemed to resonate in frequencies that created physical discomfort in anyone hearing them. When the creature finally departed, it bounded away with leaps that covered 20 feet or more, demonstrating leg strength that allowed it to clear obstacles that would challenge much smaller cats. Victor watched it disappear over terrain that should have been impossible for any cat to navigate at such speed, leaving him with the disturbing realization that this predator possessed capabilities that exceeded every parameter of normal mountain lion behavior. Tuesday brought reports of additional livestock kills that confirmed the creature's enhanced hunting capabilities were producing devastating results throughout the region. 3 separate ranches reported cattle killed during the night, but these attacks showed an escalation in violence that exceeded even the previous brutal incidents. The cattle hadn't just been killed, they had been torn apart with such force that pieces were scattered across areas the size of football fields. At the Henderson Ranch, 2 full-grown bulls weighing over 1,200 pounds each had been killed and partially consumed. The wounds showed bite forces that had crushed bones over 2 inches thick, and claw marks had penetrated so deeply that they severed major muscle groups with single swipes. The fence surrounding the pasture had been destroyed, not climbed over or dug under, but physically torn apart by an animal with strength that seemed to have no natural limits. Margaret Holloway's examination of the Henderson Ranch revealed evidence that this predator was operating beyond normal metabolic constraints. The amount of tissue consumed suggested an appetite that exceeded anything documented in mountain lion feeding behavior. Normal cats eat methodically and cache excess food for later consumption, but this creature appeared to be consuming massive quantities of meat in single feeding sessions, suggesting a metabolism that required enormous caloric intake. Wednesday evening brought the encounter that transformed local concern into genuine terror throughout the entire Millbrook Valley community. The Thompson family, returning from visiting relatives, experienced a vehicle breakdown on the isolated mountain road that borders the southern edge of the affected area. While waiting for assistance, they became aware that something large was moving through the forest, parallel to their disabled car. Sarah Thompson described hearing branches breaking and trees being pushed aside with such force that the sounds carried clearly over normal forest activity. The crashes suggested something much larger than any known regional wildlife moving through dense underbrush without regard for obstacles. When their headlights illuminated movement in the tree line, the Thompson family got their first clear look at the predator that had been terrorizing the region. The creature that emerged from the forest exceeded every description provided by previous witnesses. Standing in full view less than 30 feet from their car, the mountain lion displayed physical characteristics that challenged basic assumptions about mammalian biology. Its shoulder height approached that of a small horse, while maintaining distinctive proportions that clearly identified it as a feline predator. The muscle mass was so pronounced that individual muscle groups were visible beneath the coat. Most terrifying was the creature's behavior when it detected the human family inside the vehicle. Instead of fleeing, the predator approached their car and began circling it slowly, its massive paws making no sound despite its enormous weight. The Thompson family could hear its breathing, deep and powerful, and feel vibrations when it occasionally brushed against their vehicle while investigating this obstacle to its movement through the area. For over an hour, the creature remained in the immediate vicinity of the disabled car, sometimes disappearing into the forest only to return minutes later and resume its slow circling. The family described feeling the car rock slightly when the predator rubbed against it, and seeing claw marks being carved into the metal body panels as the creature used their vehicle as a scratching post. The casual destruction of automotive steel demonstrated strength that seemed impossible for any living creature. Thursday brought the arrival of Dr. Harold Whitcomb, a wildlife behaviorist from the State University who specialized in aggressive predator incidents. Dr. Whitcomb had studied mountain lion attacks throughout North America and had extensive experience with cases involving unusually large or aggressive cats. His preliminary assessment of the evidence confirmed that the Millbrook Valley predator exceeded normal mountain lion parameters in ways that challenged basic biological principles. Dr. Whitcomb's analysis of track casts and photographic evidence revealed a mountain lion with bone structure that appeared to have been scaled up proportionally from normal specimens. The skull measurements derived from bite mark analysis suggested a head nearly twice the normal size, while paw print dimensions indicated feet that were over 50% larger than typical adult male mountain lions. These measurements suggested an animal that weighed at least 400 pounds while maintaining the agility and speed characteristics of much smaller cats. Friday evening's incident at the Riverside camping ground provided the most detailed encounter yet with the enhanced predator. The Peterson family had set up their site in the designated area, following all recommended safety protocols for camping in mountain lion territory. Their adherence to proper procedures made what happened next even more disturbing for wildlife management officials trying to understand this predator's behavioral patterns. The Peterson family reported being awakened around midnight by sounds that initially seemed like distant thunder, but which they gradually realized were coming from something large moving through the forest toward their campsite. As the sounds grew closer, they could distinguish individual footfalls that seemed far too heavy for any known regional wildlife. When they emerged from their tent to investigate, they found themselves face to face with the massive predator, less than 20 feet from their sleeping area. The creature stood motionless for several minutes while the Peterson family remained frozen with terror inside their tent. They could hear its breathing, deep and steady, and smell a wild animal scent that was stronger and more pungent than anything they'd encountered during years of camping experience. When the predator began moving around their campsite, they could feel the ground vibrating under its weight with each step. When morning came and the predator had finally departed, the Peterson family discovered the full extent of damage caused by their nocturnal visitor. Deep claw marks scored trees throughout the campsite, gouged to depths that exceeded anything normal mountain lions could achieve. Their vehicle showed scratches where the creature had apparently rubbed against it, and the ground was torn up by claw marks that penetrated several inches into packed earth. As I speak to you now, the enhanced predator remains at large in the Millbrook Valley region, and its pattern of increasingly bold encounters with humans suggests that normal wildlife management approaches will be completely inadequate for addressing this threat. Dr. Whitcomb has recommended immediate evacuation of all camping and recreational areas within a 50-mile radius, and local authorities are coordinating with state wildlife officials to develop strategies for locating and eliminating this creature before it causes human casualties. Good evening, listeners. This is your emergency broadcaster with what many hoped would be the conclusion to the Millbrook Valley crisis. The past week has seen the most intensive hunting operation in state history, culminating in the successful elimination of the enhanced predator that has terrorized our region for over 2 weeks. However, the discoveries made during the creature's examination have raised new questions and revealed disturbing truths that suggest our ordeal may be far from over. The coordinated hunt began Monday morning when Sheriff Davidson assembled a team of the most experienced hunters and trackers in the region. Victor Hawthorne, despite his terrifying encounter with the creature, volunteered to lead the tracking effort. The team included 12 men with over 300 years of combined hunting experience, armed with high-powered rifles and equipped with trail cameras, motion sensors, and communication equipment that would allow them to coordinate their movements across the vast wilderness area. The initial tracking proved more challenging than anticipated. The creature's massive weight left clear tracks in soft soil, but it moved across rocky terrain with an agility that seemed impossible for an animal of its size. Trail cameras captured brief glimpses of the predator moving through the forest, confirming witness descriptions of a mountain lion that exceeded normal parameters by an enormous margin. The footage showed an animal that appeared to weigh close to 400 pounds, while maintaining the fluid grace typical of much smaller cats. Tuesday evening brought the first serious attempt to corner the creature when motion sensors indicated it was feeding on a fresh deer kill in a narrow canyon that offered limited escape routes. The hunting team positioned themselves at both ends of the canyon and began a careful approach, hoping to drive the predator toward waiting rifles. What they discovered at the kill site exceeded even their most disturbing expectations about this enhanced predator's capabilities. The deer had been completely dismembered, with individual body parts scattered across an area spanning nearly 100 yards. The violence of the kill was so extreme that pieces of the carcass were found wedged into tree branches 15 feet above the ground, apparently thrown there by the force of the predator's attack. Bone fragments showed crushing damage that indicated bite forces far exceeding anything documented in North American predator behavior studies. Most disturbing was evidence that the creature had been feeding at the site for several days, returning repeatedly to consume portions of the carcass while allowing other parts to rot where they lay. This feeding pattern violated normal mountain lion behavior, which involves consuming prey efficiently and caching excess meat for later consumption. The enhanced predator appeared to be driven by an appetite that exceeded normal metabolic requirements, consuming flesh in quantities that seemed impossible for any living creature to process. The hunting team's approach was detected by the creature before they could establish effective positions for a coordinated attack. The predator's enhanced senses apparently allowed it to identify human presence from distances that exceeded normal mountain lion capabilities, and it escaped the canyon through terrain that should have been impossible for any animal to navigate. Deep claw marks in vertical rock faces showed where the creature had climbed surfaces that would challenge experienced rock climbers. Wednesday brought a change in strategy when Dr. Whitcomb suggested using bait to draw the creature into a more controlled environment where the hunting team could establish clear fields of fire. A fresh deer carcass was positioned in a clearing surrounded by elevated hunting blinds, with multiple escape routes monitored by team members equipped with night vision equipment. The plan required patience and coordination, but offered the best opportunity to eliminate the enhanced predator safely. The creature approached the bait site just after midnight, moving through the forest with surprising stealth, despite its massive size. The hunters reported hearing only occasional branch snaps and the sound of heavy breathing as the predator circled the clearing for nearly an hour before approaching the deer carcass. When it finally emerged into the open, even experienced hunters were shocked by the sheer physical presence of the enhanced mountain lion. Standing in full moonlight, the creature displayed muscle development that seemed to belong on a much larger predator. Its shoulders bulged with muscle mass that created a silhouette unlike any mountain lion the hunters had ever seen. The head was proportionally enlarged to accommodate jaw muscles that were clearly visible beneath the skin, and its movements suggested strength that could easily overpower much larger prey than deer or cattle. The coordinated attack began when Victor Hawthorne fired the first shot from his elevated position 40 yards from the creature. The high-powered rifle should have dropped any normal mountain lion immediately, but the enhanced predator absorbed the impact and spun toward the source of the attack with speed that caught the hunters off guard. Additional shots from multiple positions were required before the creature finally collapsed, demonstrating physical resilience that exceeded normal animal parameters. Even after sustaining what should have been fatal wounds, the enhanced predator continued attempting to reach the hunting blinds, clawing at trees and rocks with such force that stone chips and wood fragments were scattered across the clearing. Its death struggles lasted nearly 10 minutes, during which time it caused damage to the environment that would normally require heavy machinery to accomplish. When the creature finally died, the silence that followed was broken only by the sound of settling debris from its final destructive efforts. Thursday morning brought Dr. Edith Farrow, a veterinary pathologist from the State University, to conduct a detailed examination of the dead creature. Dr. Farrow had extensive experience with wildlife autopsies and had studied unusual cases involving diseased or abnormal predators throughout her career. Nothing in her background had prepared her for what she discovered during the examination of the Millbrook Valley predator. The initial external examination confirmed that the creature was indeed a mountain lion, but one that had undergone modifications that challenged basic understanding of mammalian biology. The animal weighed 387 pounds, nearly triple the weight of typical adult male mountain lions in the region. Its muscle mass had developed far beyond normal parameters, with individual muscle groups showing density and definition that approached bodybuilder proportions in a wild animal. Most significantly, Dr. Farrow's examination revealed evidence of viral infection affecting the creature's muscular and nervous systems. Tissue samples showed cellular modifications that were clearly pathological, but had somehow enhanced rather than degraded the animal's physical capabilities. The virus appeared to have targeted specific genetic sequences responsible for muscle development, bone density, and metabolic efficiency, creating biological changes that exceeded normal evolutionary parameters. The viral infection had apparently modified the creature's brain chemistry as well, affecting regions responsible for aggression control and pain sensitivity. Neural tissue showed inflammation patterns consistent with viral activity, but instead of causing typical disease symptoms, the infection had enhanced the predator's aggressive instincts while reducing its natural restraints and fear responses. The result was a mountain lion driven by uncontrolled hunting impulses and freed from normal behavioral limitations. Dr. Farrow's analysis revealed that the viral modifications were not stable genetic changes, but ongoing infections that required the creature to consume enormous quantities of protein to maintain its enhanced physical capabilities. This explained the excessive violence of its kills and its pattern of consuming far more meat than normal mountain lions required for survival. The enhanced predator had been driven by metabolic demands that forced it to hunt continuously and consume prey at levels that exceeded normal feeding behavior. Friday brought the discovery that changed everything about our understanding of the Millbrook Valley situation. During Dr. Farrow's continued examination of the viral infection, emergency services received reports of fresh livestock kills bearing the same excessive violence that had characterized the enhanced predator's attacks. The kills had occurred nearly 20 miles from where the creature had been eliminated, making it impossible for the dead predator to be responsible for the new attacks. The realization that there were multiple enhanced predators in the region sent shockwaves through the hunting team and local authorities who had believed the threat was eliminated. If one enhanced mountain lion had required the combined efforts of 12 experienced hunters to eliminate, the presence of additional creatures suggested a crisis that exceeded local capabilities to address. The viral infection that had created one enhanced predator had apparently affected other animals in the region as well. Sheriff Davidson immediately expanded the hunting operation and requested state assistance as reports of new attacks continued to arrive throughout Friday evening. The fresh kill sites showed identical patterns of excessive violence and consumption, confirming that at least 2 additional enhanced predators were operating in the Millbrook Valley area. The viral infection was not limited to a single animal, but represented a biological phenomenon affecting multiple mountain lions in the region. Saturday's investigation into the source of the viral infection led Dr. Farrow to examine water sources throughout the affected area. The drought conditions that had persisted for over 6 months had reduced normal water supplies to isolated pools and springs that concentrated animal activity in specific locations. Dr. Farrow's hypothesis was that the viral pathogen had reached critical concentrations in these limited water sources, creating infection opportunities that would not exist under normal environmental conditions. The water analysis confirmed Dr. Farrow's suspicions about the viral source. Several springs and pools in the Millbrook Valley watershed contained concentrations of a feline-specific pathogen that had mutated under the environmental stress of drought conditions. The mutation had transformed a normally benign virus into an agent capable of producing the extreme physical enhancements observed in the dead predator. The drought had created perfect conditions for viral concentration and mutation that might not occur again for decades. Sunday brought confirmation that at least 4 enhanced predators remained at large in the region, based on track analysis and attack patterns that showed multiple animals operating simultaneously across different geographic areas. Each creature appeared to possess the same enhanced capabilities observed in the eliminated predator, suggesting that the viral infection produced consistent modifications in affected mountain lions. The hunting operation would require significant expansion and state resources to address multiple enhanced predators. The environmental analysis revealed that the viral infection was self-limiting due to the specific drought conditions required for pathogen concentration and mutation. As autumn rains began replenishing normal water sources, the concentrated viral pools would be diluted beyond the threshold necessary for infection. No new enhanced predators would be created, but the existing infected animals would retain their modifications until they were eliminated or died from the metabolic stress of maintaining their enhanced capabilities. As I speak to you now, specialized hunting teams are coordinating with state wildlife officials to track and eliminate the remaining enhanced predators before winter weather makes the operation more dangerous and difficult. The viral source has been identified and is being monitored to prevent future outbreaks, but the immediate threat remains significant. Residents of the Millbrook Valley region should continue avoiding rural areas and report any unusual wildlife activity to authorities immediately. The successful elimination of one enhanced predator has provided crucial information about the nature of this biological phenomenon, but the presence of multiple infected animals means our crisis is far from over. Tomorrow, I'll report on the expanded hunting operation and the efforts to eliminate the remaining enhanced predators before they pose additional threats to human safety. Good evening, listeners. This is your emergency broadcaster with updates on the expanded hunting operation and the scientific investigation that has revealed both the origin of our enhanced predator crisis and the scope of the challenge we still face. The past week has brought intensive efforts to eliminate the remaining infected mountain lions, while researchers work to understand exactly how this viral mutation occurred and what can be done to prevent similar incidents in the future. Dr. Edith Farrow's investigation into the viral source led her team to a remote section of Millbrook Valley, where drought conditions had created what she termed perfect viral incubation conditions. A series of natural springs that normally fed into larger streams had been reduced to isolated pools containing highly concentrated wildlife populations. The combination of viral concentration, environmental stress, and repeated exposure had created the ideal circumstances for pathogenic mutation and enhanced infection rates. The viral analysis revealed a pathogen that naturally exists at low levels throughout the regional ecosystem without causing harmful effects in normal mountain lion populations. However, the extreme drought had concentrated this virus in the remaining water sources to levels that exceeded natural immune system capabilities. When mountain lions consumed water containing these concentrated viral loads, their systems became overwhelmed and the pathogen began producing the aggressive mutations observed in the enhanced predators. Most significantly, Dr. Farrow discovered that the viral mutation was triggered by specific environmental stress markers present in drought-concentrated water sources. The pathogen had evolved rapidly under these unique conditions, developing the ability to modify host muscle development, bone density, and neural chemistry in ways that enhanced predatory capabilities far beyond normal parameters. The virus was essentially hijacking normal biological processes to create super predators adapted for survival under extreme environmental stress. The expanded hunting operation began Monday with teams positioned throughout the Millbrook Valley region using intelligence gathered from the successful elimination of the first enhanced predator. Captain Thomas Ellsworth, a state wildlife specialist with experience in dangerous animal removal, coordinated efforts between local hunters and state personnel equipped with advanced tracking equipment and heavy caliber weapons designed specifically for large, dangerous predators. Trail cameras and motion sensors deployed throughout the affected area confirmed the presence of at least 4 additional enhanced predators operating independently across different sections of the valley. Each creature showed the same massive size and enhanced capabilities observed in the eliminated specimen, but they were not cooperating or coordinating their activities. The enhanced predators remain solitary hunters, following individual territorial patterns, albeit with greatly expanded hunting ranges due to their increased size and appetite. Tuesday evening brought the second successful elimination when a coordinated team cornered an enhanced predator near the original deer kill site where the first creature had been tracked. The engagement required sustained fire from multiple hunters before the creature was finally brought down, confirming that enhanced predators possessed physical resilience that exceeded normal mountain lion parameters by enormous margins. Even mortally wounded, the creature continued aggressive behavior for several minutes after sustaining injuries that would have immediately killed normal cats. The post-mortem examination of the second enhanced predator revealed viral modifications identical to those found in the first specimen, confirming that the pathogen was producing consistent enhancement patterns across multiple infected animals. Dr. Farrow's tissue analysis showed the same muscle density increases, bone reinforcement, and neural modifications that had characterized the previous creature. The virus was apparently following a specific enhancement protocol that transformed normal mountain lions into remarkably similar super predators. Wednesday's elimination of the third enhanced predator occurred during daylight hours when the creature was discovered feeding on cattle at the Morrison Ranch. The animal showed no fear of human presence and continued feeding even when approached by armed hunters, demonstrating the complete loss of natural caution that characterized all viral modifications. The enhanced predator required multiple shots from high-powered rifles before it finally succumbed, and even then continued attempting to attack its pursuers until the moment of death. The behavioral analysis conducted by Dr. Harold Whitcomb revealed that enhanced predators retained basic mountain lion hunting instincts, but with all natural restraints and limitations removed. Normal mountain lions are cautious, selective hunters that avoid unnecessary risks and conserve energy for essential activities. The enhanced predators hunted continuously, attacked any available prey regardless of size or danger, and showed complete disregard for threats that would cause normal cats to retreat or hide. Thursday brought a significant breakthrough when Dr. Farrow identified the specific viral strain responsible for the enhancements and traced its evolutionary development through environmental samples collected from the drought-affected water sources. The pathogen was a mutated variant of a common feline virus that had undergone rapid genetic changes under the concentrated conditions created by the extended drought period. Under normal environmental conditions, this level of viral concentration and mutation would be virtually impossible. The environmental analysis revealed that the enhanced predator crisis was entirely dependent on the specific drought conditions that had persisted throughout the summer months. As autumn rains began replenishing normal water sources, the viral concentrations were being diluted to levels that could not support further mutations or new infections. The window for creating additional enhanced predators was closing rapidly as environmental conditions returned to normal patterns. Friday's elimination of the fourth enhanced predator proved more challenging than previous hunts because the creature had learned to avoid areas where hunting activity had occurred. While enhanced predators showed no increase in intelligence, they retained normal mountain lion memory and pattern recognition capabilities, enhanced by their improved physical condition. The creature avoided locations where gunfire had been heard and human scent was concentrated, requiring hunters to adapt their tactics to account for normal predatory caution. The successful elimination required a coordinated effort that drove the enhanced predator into a box canyon where escape routes could be controlled and clear fields of fire established. Even with tactical advantages, the creature required sustained gunfire from multiple positions before it was finally brought down. The elimination confirmed that while enhanced predators possessed dramatically improved physical capabilities, they remained fundamentally animals without enhanced reasoning or planning abilities. Saturday brought the discovery that fundamentally changed our understanding of the enhanced predator population when tracking teams located signs of a fifth creature in previously unmonitored sections of the valley. Track analysis and fresh kill sites confirmed that this additional enhanced predator had been operating simultaneously with the others, expanding the total population beyond previous estimates. The realization that population assessments had been incomplete raised concerns about additional undetected enhanced predators. The intensive search efforts revealed evidence of enhanced predator activity across a much wider geographic area than initially believed, suggesting that the viral infection had affected mountain lions throughout the entire Millbrook Valley watershed. While the drought-concentrated viral sources were localized, infected animals had dispersed across their normal territorial ranges before the full effects of the viral modifications became apparent. The enhanced predator population could potentially include animals operating far beyond the original infection sites. Sunday's coordinated sweep of the entire affected region employed over 30 personnel with specialized tracking equipment, thermal imaging devices, and communication systems that allowed real-time coordination across the vast wilderness area. The operation represented the largest wildlife elimination effort in state history, necessitated by the unique threat posed by predators that exceeded normal control methods and required military-level coordination to address safely. The sweep operation successfully located and eliminated the fifth enhanced predator, but also revealed evidence suggesting that additional infected animals might exist in remote areas that had not been previously searched. Track analysis indicated possible enhanced predator activity in sections of the valley that were virtually inaccessible except on foot, requiring extended hiking through dangerous terrain where encounters with enhanced predators could prove fatal for search teams. Dr. Farrow's continued viral research revealed that enhanced predators were subject to metabolic stress that would eventually prove fatal even without human intervention. The viral modifications that created their enhanced capabilities also placed enormous demands on their biological systems that normal mountain lion physiology could not sustain indefinitely. Enhanced predators were essentially burning out their own biological systems to maintain their enhanced capabilities, creating a natural limitation on their survival duration. The metabolic analysis suggested that enhanced predators could survive for several months under optimal conditions, but would eventually succumb to organ failure caused by the viral modifications that created their enhanced capabilities. This natural limitation meant that even if some enhanced predators remained undetected, they would not pose a long-term threat to regional wildlife populations or human safety. The viral enhancement process was ultimately self-destructive rather than sustainable. As I speak to you now, hunting teams continue searching for any remaining enhanced predators, while environmental specialists monitor water sources to ensure that viral concentrations remain below dangerous levels. The autumn rains have successfully diluted the concentrated viral pools that created this crisis, preventing any new infections while allowing existing water sources to return to normal pathogen levels that pose no threat to wildlife populations. Good evening, listeners. This is your emergency broadcaster with what I hope will be the concluding report on the Millbrook Valley Enhanced Predator Crisis. The past 2 weeks have seen the most intensive wildlife elimination operation in our state's history, culminating in the systematic location and elimination of the remaining infected mountain lions. The discoveries made during this final phase have provided crucial insights into the nature of viral mutation under extreme environmental conditions and established protocols that will prevent similar incidents in the future. The final phase of hunting operations began with expanded search efforts covering over 200 square miles of wilderness terrain, utilizing satellite imagery, thermal detection equipment, and coordinated ground teams working in systematic grid patterns. Captain Thomas Ellsworth coordinated the operation with military-level precision, deploying resources that included specialized tracking units, veterinary support teams, and communication systems that allowed real-time coordination across the vast search area. Monday's intensive search revealed evidence of 2 additional enhanced predators operating in the most remote sections of Millbrook Valley, areas that had been considered too inaccessible for normal mountain lion habitation. The discovery that enhanced predators had expanded into terrain that would challenge even experienced hikers demonstrated how their increased size and strength had allowed them to exploit territories that normal cats could not effectively utilize for hunting or shelter. The first of these remote encounters occurred when a tracking team discovered fresh kill sites in a narrow canyon system that required technical climbing equipment to access safely. The kills showed the same excessive violence and consumption patterns that characterized all enhanced predator attacks, but the location suggested that this creature had learned to exploit terrain features that provided natural protection from human hunting efforts, while maintaining access to wildlife corridors. Tuesday brought the most challenging elimination yet, when the tracking team cornered the enhanced predator in terrain that severely limited their tactical options. The creature had taken refuge in a cave system that provided multiple escape routes while restricting human access to a single narrow approach. The elimination required rappelling equipment and specialized tactics that placed hunters at significant disadvantage compared to previous engagements on open ground. The enhanced predator demonstrated the same massive size and enhanced capabilities observed in all previous specimens, but its location in the cave system amplified these advantages by providing natural defensive positions. The creature's enhanced strength allowed it to dislodge rocks and debris that created additional hazards for the hunting team, while its improved agility permitted movement through cave passages that would challenge normal mountain lions. The successful elimination required nearly 6 hours of careful maneuvering and sustained fire from multiple positions before the creature was finally brought down. Even mortally wounded, the enhanced predator continued attempting to attack its pursuers by hurling rocks and debris with force that demonstrated capabilities far beyond normal mountain lion parameters. The elimination confirmed that enhanced predators retained their modifications until death, showing no degradation of capabilities despite extended survival periods. Wednesday's search efforts located the final enhanced predator in an abandoned mining complex where old tunnels provided shelter and nearby wildlife populations offered abundant prey opportunities. The creature had apparently been using the mine shafts as a base of operations, emerging to hunt throughout the surrounding area before returning to underground refuges that would be impossible for normal mountain lions to navigate effectively. The mining complex elimination presented unique challenges because the underground environment amplified sound and created acoustic confusion that made it difficult for hunting teams to coordinate their movements or track the creature's location accurately. The enhanced predator's familiarity with the tunnel system provided significant tactical advantages, allowing it to appear and disappear through passages that human hunters could not follow safely. The final confrontation occurred in the main mining chamber, where the creature had established what appeared to be a feeding area, surrounded by the remains of numerous deer, elk, and smaller wildlife. The scale of the kills suggested that this enhanced predator had been consuming prey at levels that exceeded even the elevated metabolic requirements observed in previous specimens. The feeding area contained evidence of systematic hunting that had decimated local wildlife populations. The elimination required specialized equipment, including portable lighting systems and communication devices designed for underground operations. The enhanced predator demonstrated the same fearless aggression that characterized all infected animals, attacking the hunting team directly, despite facing overwhelming firepower disadvantage. The creature's enhanced capabilities allowed it to survive multiple gunshot wounds that would have immediately killed normal mountain lions. Thursday brought comprehensive examination of all elimination sites and kill locations to ensure that no additional enhanced predators remained undetected in the region. Dr. Edith Farrow's team conducted detailed analysis of tissue samples from all eliminated creatures, confirming that the viral modifications were consistent across the entire infected population and showed no evidence of further mutation or adaptation during the survival period. The viral analysis revealed that enhanced predators had indeed been subject to progressive metabolic stress that would have proven fatal within weeks, even without human intervention. The tissue samples showed cellular damage consistent with systems being pushed beyond sustainable limits, confirming Dr. Farrow's earlier hypothesis that viral enhancements were inherently self-destructive rather than providing long-term survival advantages. Most importantly, the comprehensive tissue analysis confirmed that the viral infection could not be transmitted between animals under normal conditions. The pathogen required the specific environmental concentration achieved only during extreme drought conditions, meaning that enhanced predators posed no risk of creating additional infected animals through contact or normal territorial interactions. Friday's environmental monitoring confirmed that autumn rainfall had successfully diluted viral concentrations in all previously affected water sources to levels that posed no threat to wildlife populations. The drought conditions that created the perfect viral incubation environment had been completely eliminated by natural weather patterns, removing any possibility of future enhanced predator creation through environmental exposure. Dr. Farrow's team established permanent monitoring stations at all previously contaminated water sources to ensure that viral levels remain below dangerous thresholds even during future drought periods. The monitoring system includes automated sampling equipment and alert systems that would immediately detect any return to concentration levels that could support viral mutation or enhanced infection capabilities. Saturday brought the official conclusion of hunting operations, when systematic searches confirmed that no additional enhanced predators remained in the Millbrook Valley region. The elimination of 7 enhanced mountain lions represented complete eradication of the infected population, achieved through coordination between local hunters, state wildlife specialists, and federal resources that provided equipment and expertise for this unprecedented biological crisis. The final environmental assessment revealed that normal mountain lion populations in the region had been significantly reduced by competition with enhanced predators, but surviving animals showed no evidence of viral infection or modification. The enhanced predators had operated as apex predators that dominated normal cats through superior size and strength, but had not transmitted their viral enhancements to other members of their species.